Good morning. How do you guys feel? Was yesterday good? Was yesterday hard? Was yesterday a lot of work? I know personally, for me, going through all of those months and looking at everything to get started, it can be kind of hard. It is a lot. It's a lot to go in there. But I also know that like once I get started on it, and once I have each platform pulled up, I'm able to go in really quick and like make those notes. And then when I want to dive in more and look at, hey, what performed better on social media, or um, where was I seeing a lot of growth? Where were our sales coming from? Were we getting messages directly from people saying a certain thing? Um, all of that really helps me see what works and what doesn't. And the things that work, I want to continue to do because they're working. And the things that weren't working, I'm willing to let them go or to let them be changed and adjusted so that they can work for me, because everything can work as long as we figure out how to make it work for us. I know that that sounds like super wooey, but it's one of those things of you just kind of have to apply it to your situation, your menu, your service, your offering, and your audience. And once you figure out how to do that, you get that plan set, you get that checklist, that workflow that you follow, and it's going to just open doors like you wouldn't imagine. It's so amazing once things start to flow for you. So today we are jumping in with day 2. I'm super proud of you guys for putting in the work yesterday. Remember, it is all objective right now. Everything we're doing, we are just collecting data. And if you start to feel down or frustrated on yourself because you're having some zeros put in there or maybe some negatives, it's okay. Give yourself the ability to say, I was learning and now I know better. The other thing that you can also do, and I have to do this sometimes when I get really into myself, is I have to step away and look at somebody else's work, right? So when I say look at somebody else's work, I'm not actually looking at anybody else's numbers, but I give a character to what I'm doing now. So instead of it being Michelle DeLorme photography, doing it for Michelle DeLorme, I might be doing, I might be looking at numbers for Cynthia sunglasses, and it's for her photography business. And so now I'm going to look at her numbers. And even though they're my numbers and I'm putting them in there, when there's somebody else's numbers, I can celebrate when she makes money and I can cheer her on. And when she didn't, I can say, hey, this is a thing that can be fixed. Um, just like it can for me, right? And that's a tactic that I've learned for myself, because I will very much get into myself based off of my personality, get into myself and be like, you should have done this or I should have done that or blah blah blah. It, shitting on you doesn't change anything. Oh, so sorry. Um, so that's just something to think about. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump into our first part, and we will get our gratitude done for the day. So we're gonna go into that gratitude. I'm gonna set that timer for 1 minute, and then we'll jump in. This will be a fairly short video today. I know yesterday had a lot of content. This one will be a pretty short one. Um, and you may already actually have a lot of it done, and you'll be able to go in there and just pull your information. Okay, so go ahead and write what you're grateful for. And if you learned some things about yourself last year, um, from doing this exercise yesterday, from doing that review, go ahead and be grateful for it. guys do have a lot to be grateful for, whether it's in your business or in your personal life. Everything that we have going on is really awesome. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into E for the reset, which is that first E is earnings. Now, if you're doing this in a PDF, right, in an editable PDF, what you're seeing right now is going to be kind of hard to fill out. So what you can actually do is you can rotate it. And this is a income sheet, right? So this is going to give you that P&L for your year. And now if you've already done your books for the year, you can just do that. And what we really want to know is what your monthly were, right? And then overall, how much were you paying yourself? How much did you make? And you can go into that. So this, oh, that's not what I wanted to click on. Go, nope, okay. All right, so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna put in, I don't wanna click on these things, sorry. You're gonna put in your numbers, okay? So how much did you bring in? Now, if you remember up here, for every month at the top, right here, we put in how much we made, right? That total for the month. So you just go over here and you just add it in. So you add in, hey, for January, I made $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, right? So you're gonna put in what that number was right there. The cost of goods sold, you have down here. You have all of your costs for each client's services, right? Your cost of goods, what it cost you. So you put it in right here. Now you are going to be totaling everything up as opposed to putting in each thing individually, but you're going to put that in there, right? So now your gross profit would be this minus this, and that's what you will put right here, okay? Now we're going to kind of get into your expenses, right? So if you might have different expenses. These are just general things, like you may not have employees, or depending on your business structure, you might be an employee. Marketing expenses, depreciation expenses, and some of these things, like you might need to get with your accountant and find out, like, hey, how am I depreciating my equipment? Hey, how am I depreciating my whatever it is that you have, and putting each of those things in there, so that they might say, like, hey, it's 25% a year or 10% a year, depending on what kind of equipment it is. Also, like, if you have equipment that is just meant for usage, right? Like these are things that are not associated with having a client. Okay, so your cost of goods are things that are only if you have a client. If you don't have a client, are you paying for it anyway? So for example, for me, if I don't have a client, am I still paying for my my photo editing software? Yes, I am. So that goes into a software fee. If I don't have a client, am I still paying for a website? Yes, I am. If I don't have a client, am I still paying for my camera? Well, I own my camera, but it is depreciating. So then I would have that depreciation expense. If I don't have a client, am I paying for canvases? No, I am not. So the client's canvas is a cost of good. Okay, so that is a very photographer specific thing. If you guys have questions on this, on how to fill this out, make sure that you drop those questions into that Facebook group, or we can do that live. I did not get any questions yesterday, you'll drop those questions in there. We can do that to get you all taken care of. Okay, so you're gonna go in there. You're gonna put in all your expenses. These are kind of administrative costs. There's taxes and licenses, telephone, internet. If you have to travel, education expenses, dues and memberships. So this workshop would be an education expense. A due and membership would be like if you're a part of a chamber of commerce or a professional networking group, or maybe a professional association for what you do. So realtors, if you're part of a realtor network, that would be a membership. all of those things you're going to put in there, auto expenses, things like that. You can, of course, make your own, or if you have one already, depending on your accounting software, it may also generate one of these for you, and you're just going to pull that monthly P&L, okay? So that's what this is. This is your P&L, and then we have it separated by month so that you can see, and then your overall year where you are. Overhead expenses would be like building, where you work, where your office is. If you are working in a home office, you can kind of annotate that and say like, hey, I work in a home office. My house is this big. My square footage is this for my office. This is what I pay for utilities, for our overall bill. And then you and your accountant can sit down when you do your tax prep, and you can figure out what percentage goes into for your write-offs, okay? And then you're going to look at all of your total expenses. You might have some months that you are in the negative. You might have some months where you are like, I don't spend any money, or things like that. I know for me, like my software fees, because I pay for the year in full, it gets me a little bit of a discount. You know, you pay in full. So I have some months where I'm dropping thousands of dollars for software, and then that software fee does not equate to the rest of the year. So that's okay if you have some months where it's a lot, or maybe you had to buy a piece of equipment, or you moved into a new building, or you had to put that down payment on something. So those are all okay. Again, this is just this is an objective day. All we're doing is pulling data. Don't get down on yourself. Don't get frustrated. What you want to do instead is look at it holistically of, this is where I am. This is where my business is. And if you have to pretend that you're talking to Cynthia, then it's cool. Talk to Cynthia and say, hey, Cynthia, girl, this is where you are. This is what's up. This is what you're making. Cool. And then you can work on that as we go into your plan and make your timeline for the coming year. Okay? So go at it, get at it. You guys got this. I highly recommend taking all of this and just rocking it. You got it. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and drop those in that Facebook group, and we will get those answered for you.